I recently went to Turkey and Lebanon to see the Syrian refugee crisis firsthand. I wanted to hear the stories from the people who'd lived them. This week, part one of my special report. Every day, it seems, we are bombarded with images of the flood of refugees into Europe, but we rarely see the view from the front lines of this crisis, rarely hear the voices of the refugees themselves.
Before the war, Syria was paradise. Now it's hell, believe me.
They slapped and punched me, and the baby in my arms fell to the floor.
I will keep my family together, whatever it takes, and wherever I must go.
We've come to the front lines of the refugee crisis to meet these people and hear their stories. Our journey starts in Turkey, which borders Syria to the south. So far, about 2.5 million refugees have crossed this border. Many are living in camps run by the Turkish government and supported by the UN High Commission for Refugees. One camp we visited was Suruç. Just a few kilometres this way beyond the camp is the city of Kobani on the Syrian side of the border. That's where Peshmerga and Kurdish People's Protection Units fought a bloody defence of their homes against ISIS in 2014. They drove the murderous forces of the Caliphate away, but not before half the city was reduced to rubble and tens of thousands of people flooded over the border to here, Suruç. ISIS still threatens their hometown, so for now, people like Makbula are trapped here.
We were in the city when Daesh came and told all Kurdish people to leave. They killed anyone who spoke out against them.
Makbula's husband was killed, and she now lives in Suruç camp with 5 of her 6 children.
Because it's just me with my small children, I feel very alone, so lonely. But if my children are safe, I must be happy.
Some are fleeing from ISIS, some from Syrian government forces or from opposition forces or Russian bombs or Turkish bombs or the Al-Nusra Front. This is a complex and brutal war. People like Shadi and his wife Rana are the innocent victims caught in the crossfire.
Before the war, my home of Aleppo was a beautiful city and the people there all got along well. I used to own a toy shop.
Can you explain to us what happened in the moment when that bomb destroyed your house?
The bomb destroyed everything and my little girl Bayan was trapped under the wreckage for 4 hours. I myself was hit there in the chest by a sniper bullet and wounded in the side by shrapnel.
The ancient city of Aleppo has been utterly destroyed by the barrel bombs of Syrian government forces fighting the opposition. Shadi and Rana fled for their lives. What are the living conditions like for you here in Turkey?
For sure, Turkey does everything they can to support us, but I can't work here or give my family a decent life. The hardest thing is when my child comes to me, tells me she's hungry. As adults, we can live with hunger and cold, but kids can't. I'm crying every day for them. They don't understand yet, so they're protected, but when they grow up, they will cry like me.
Before the war, Syria was a flourishing modern country of 23 million people, an educated, literate, multicultural society. It had an innovative IT sector, well-regarded engineering and manufacturing, and a good standard of living based largely on its oil production. In other words, Syria was a country much like Australia. But the war changed all that almost overnight. Go, go, go. What started as a peaceful demonstration for democratic reform has become a full-scale human catastrophe. In the 5 years since the conflict erupted, 12 million people, that's half the entire population of Syria, have been displaced. And for those lucky enough to escape Syria itself, camps like these provide the first line of refuge. Life in the camps isn't easy. Tens of thousands live in tents on the most basic subsistence, and the opportunities for work or engagement are minimal. These people have no control over their destinies. But despite this, life goes on, and people do their best to keep themselves occupied and give their lives meaning with what little they have. Basic businesses have sprung up. The women keep the camps tidy.